What's indeed going on, Jerome? It's a beautiful Wednesday. Birds are chirping and stuff. And your Minnesota Fine Vikings, yes, need to find their quarterback of the future. Yes, all that has been covered ad nauseum. And whether it's May or Daniels or McCarthy or Penix Jr. or Bo Nix or whoever, the Vikings, they have ammunition. So they can trade up to the stratosphere. They can stick and pick and take a quarterback at 11 or potentially 23. But what if the Vikings don't? Like, what if the Vikings decide that the juice is not worth the squeeze on a quarterback in the top 5 or at 11 or at 23, and the Vikings go a different direction? Maybe they address the defensive line, maybe offensive line, maybe corner, maybe Brock Bowers, who knows? But what if they do that? And the Vikings still would like a quarterback to develop behind Sam Darnold and assess going into next year. Enter one Spencer friggin' Rattler from the South Carolina University. He's a Gamecock, and I understand there's a lot of drawbacks with Rattler, but I feel like he's probably going to go like late day 2, maybe late second round if a team is really he really strikes a team's fancy, or more likely in the 3rd round. And could he be that young Russell Wilson adjacent type player? Potentially. And yes, the Vikings don't have a day 2 selection currently, but could they make a maneuver? Whether it's a trade down from 23, acquiring extra day 2 picks, or a trade up, since they do have 7 day 3 selections, it's possible. It's possible. But let's talk about Spencer Rattler today. Also, Rattler said that, he loved Atlanta, Minnesota, with Jefferson, Addison, blah, blah, blah. But he's 23 years young, so yes, a little bit age is certainly a factor, since he did transfer in, 5 years in college. So age is a factor, like with Nix, like with Penix, etc. And also Daniels, too. 6 foot 211, former 5-star recruit from Phoenix, Arizona. Now, yes, the elephant in the room, Rattler, like everyone got a taste of Spencer Rattler on the Netflix documentary by Peter Berg, QB1 Beyond the Lights. He did not come off great in the show. But, of course, you're a spoiled, entitled athlete, and also you're a 16, 17-year-old kid, right? So there's been a lot of life lived with Spencer Rattler, and also he's been humbled throughout his college career. So I think that first impressions are hard to break, and I fully understand that. And, to a degree, we've held that against him too, but I don't hold the 16, 17-year-old version of Spencer Rattler against the 23-year-old trying to break into the NFL. I just don't, right? And of course, being a 7-on-7 high school football star, I feel like everyone would have had a bit of an attitude back in the day, right? And also, I feel like that exposure to a national audience, I mean, he's probably adjusted a couple things, right? But took his talents initially to Oklahoma, and he had a stunning redshirt sophomore year in 2020, where his first team all Big 12, and he was seen as a Heisman Trophy favorite in 2021, as well as a potential first-round pick, maybe even number 1 overall in 2022, but didn't happen. So he was benched despite being 6-0 in 2021, and true freshman Caleb Williams came in and took her job. All right, and what's really funny is that both Rattler and Williams left after the season because, of course, Lincoln Riley went to USC and took Caleb Williams with him. But I think it's just kind of funny. And enter. But the whole thing is that Rattler eventually ended up at South Carolina, joining up a Shane Beamer. Now, he and Xavier Legette had a fantastic duo relationship over the last 2 years. So basically, Spencer's like, F it, Xavier down there somewhere. Psh, screw it. But back-to-back 3,000-yard seasons. And, despite, a drop-off in talent from Oklahoma to South Carolina, he did show well. An 8-5 hit in 2022. Had sort of a rough 5-7 year, but beyond Xavier, wasn't a ton of talent around him, but of course that's what got him in trouble with the Netflix documentary, where he's just ripping on his teammates. But I think he definitely learned from that and grown and shown. And also, he did show extremely well at the Senior Bowl. I mean, frankly, he might have been the quarterback that helped himself the most. And not even just talk about the game where he ended up being Senior Bowl MVP, but in the practices as well. I think that a lot of questions were answered about Spencer Rattler. How he is in practice with teammates, his velocity up close and personal, there's some major question marks, as well as how he operated under center, because he was primarily in shotgun throughout his entire college career. So playing in a pro style offense, he was actually able to do some work. But also, despite him being Senior Bowl MVP, and I understand scout the player, not the helmet, but also scout the player, not the Senior Bowl MVP award. Of course, Christian Ponder was Senior Bowl MVP 2011, and then Kellen Mond also fun, good times. But with Rattler, this is draft profile from LanceErline.NFL.com overview. 4-year starter who took more starting snaps at South Carolina than he did at Oklahoma. Rattler will still flash glimpses of what he showed in his 2020 season as a Sooner, but fails to consistently sustain the type of play the NFL teams look for. He lacks desired height for a pocket passer and doesn't have enough arm strength to beat greedy NFL cover men. He was better than some of his 2023 numbers might indicate, as poor pass blocking and drop-prone receivers often put him in bad spots. But again, he can't blame his teammates because of the Netflix documentary. He can scramble and extend plays, but he's not a dynamic runner. He actually kind of runs like Mahomes, where Mahomes runs 0.01 mile an hour faster than whoever's chasing him. Like, he's not fast, and he's not a scrambling quarterback, but it's funny, man. He needs an offense that can shrink the field so he can operate quickly and find his rhythm. He has the know-how, but might not have the tape or traits to inspire confidence in projecting anything more than a QB2 or QB3. And with Rattler, so Rattler's way more similar to Bo Nix than he's not, right? So 2 schools, found his footing at the next school. Now, he didn't put up the Lulu numbers that Nix did at Oregon, but he is older coming in because of the significant college experience. And so Rattler, he does still have that chip. He does still have that cocky attitude, but I feel like it's in a mature way. And, of course, him being humbled on a national stage at Oklahoma by Caleb Williams, the presumed number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, that can change you. That can knock the immaturity out of you right away. He will stay in the pocket. He will take a shot. And it's not for lack of pocket awareness. He understands what's going on around him. And even though he isn't a running quarterback, he can maneuver, like sidestep, stepping up in the pocket, half step, just buying extra time. So he's very much aware. Like, he improved significantly in terms of pocket awareness, probably because South Carolina's pass protection was so bad. But he will stand in the pocket and take as much time as possible to let his receivers do the work and try to hit them and get a play. Right. He is aggressive over the middle of the field. That's an important aspect for Kevin O'Connell. He is a back shoulder savant as well. But I mean, having Xavier out there, it certainly helps things. Right. Solid arm, feet mechanics. And he's actually been graded as one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in this class in terms of mechanics. But he trusts his arm too much where he probably shouldn't. And there's a lot of throws on his tape that is off the back foot. Now, a lot of those are at South Carolina, so again, protection may come into play here, and also Xavier Legette may come into play here. It's like, screw it, exit down there. Decent arm velocity, but it's not tier 1 where he'll check the boxes, and like I said, he's eerily similar to Bo Nix. Where Bo Nix as well, you worry about the deep shots. Do they have enough mustard to be able to stay true, especially when you're outdoors late in the season at, say, Lambeau or Soldier Field? But also with Nix, you do wonder about the velocity underneath, right? So can he stick that slant route on 3rd and 4 and put it right in front of the receiver where the DB can't get it, and right over the linebacker? Right, so there's questions about that with Rattler too. Minimal under center experience, a lot of time in shotgun, like we said, but was under center for the most part at the Senior Bowl, so that certainly helped him. Pro comp, Gardner Minshew plus, where Minshew signed with the Raiders, and he's bounced around the league, and he's been that fringe sort of cult hero starter at times. But are you gonna build a team around him? I don't know, but he did do really damn well last year with the Colts, man. But I feel like Rattler could fall into that category. So I think that honestly, if he's available late day 2, and the Vikings haven't addressed the quarterback situation yet, maneuvering and taking a shot at him, I wouldn't be mad. But also, I think it's a great spot for him because he would be surrounded by talent, especially weapons-wise, in a good spot with Kevin O'Connell and Josh McCown. There would be zero pressure on him to start right away, or maybe even at any point during his rookie contract. And basically, if he rises up and he battles Jaron Hall and he battles Nick Mullins behind Sam Darnold and is able to be a little something, I think that's a huge bonus for the Vikings. And do I see NFL Pro Bowler superstar written all over Spencer Rattler? No. Do I see a guy that in the perfect situation could be a little something? Yes. Yes, I certainly could and should see that. But your thoughts are thoughts. Vikings need to draft Spencer Rattler. Go Gamecocks. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.